Hi, Betsy Johns here, and what I'd like to do today is to talk about something that is extremely important in our daily life. If when we're in our own home business, and that's to stay motivated. You know, we hear all the time you need to be a self starter. So I was reading an article in Forbes magazine this morning, and I thought they had some extremely good tips. Actually, they had 7 tips that um, I think really lay it out there for us and help us to understand how important it is for us to work at its job to stay motivated so that we become successful in our business and don't quit. You know, you hear it all the time. It's the only way you can fail is to quit, and so there's no that should never be an option. Just don't let it be an option. The number one tip was to set a goal and visualize it down to the most minute detail. You know, you need to see it, feel it, hear the sounds that accompany the result. Like the wind rushing through your hair, you know, or applause. Okay, let's look at the second one. It's make a list of the reasons you want to accomplish that goal. That goal of being um, financial freedom and time freedom. Those are our goals, and when we're in a home-based business. If we have a busy, distracting world, and it's easy to get blown off course, and this is why you need to ground yourself in your goal. For extra success insurance, write your list with a pen. You know, one of those pens that can't be erased. It's there. It's written down. Number three is break the goal down into smaller pieces and set intermediary targets and rewards. And of course, that's from being overwhelmed. Tony Robbins said, art is he's a personal development coach, and he says a major source of stress in our lives comes from the feeling that we have an impossible number of things to do. So if you just take on a project and try to do the whole thing at once, you're going to be overwhelmed. That's just the way it is, no matter what your age, no matter what time of life, no matter what you're doing. Okay, let's look at number four. Have a strategy and be prepared to change course, and that is extremely important in the home-based business arena. We're always testing, so we may have to change course if something doesn't work. Let's let Thomas Edison inspire us in this department. I've not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that it didn't work. Our greatest weakness lies in giving up. It's like we just talked about. We only fail when we have given up. The most certain way to succeed is always to try just one more time. And you know, we hear it all the time. We fail just before we succeed. We're right there, and that's when we decide to give up. And that can't happen in our business. You need to keep pushing forward. And number five is get help when you need it. It doesn't necessarily we don't need a village necessarily, but even if you could theoretically accomplish your objectives alone, there's inherent value in sharing your plan. It's why people get married and run away. Um, Announcing your intention sends a strong message to the world, and more important, to your unconscious mind, which can sometimes sabotage our best efforts. You know, I've heard Tony Rush, who is a leader in Empire, say, "You are your best thinking," which is pretty powerful. You are your best thinking. Okay, number six is to predetermine how you will deal with flagging motivation. This is not defeatist thinking at all. It's on the contrary, it's almost inevitable for all of us that we will at some point along the way begin to have defeatist thinking and flagging motivation. Uh, because, you know, in life we have our temporary setbacks, we have our, they're just, we I heard somebody say the other day that when he was starting his whole business, he lived on caffeine, and you know, which is tough. Sheer exhaustion does set in sometimes, and so we do need a little boost. And so it's very good to talk about first how we will handle our flagging motivation, and so that we don't let it take over. See the signs, so we don't let it take over. All right, and the last tip, the last point here is continually, excuse me, check in with with your reasons for carrying on, and that goes back to your list of written in pen. What are your reasons? What is your why? So that you don't lose track of that, so you don't lose sight of those goals. You need to constantly check in with that why. Like Steve Jobs once said, you have to be very internally driven. You have to be, because in the ebb and tide of people's opinions and of fads, there's going to be times when you're criticized. We also get praised, but we're going to be criticized, sometimes very cruelly. Um, and criticism can be difficult. And when you're criticized, you learn to pull back a little and listen to your own drama. I hope these tips help. They did me. Let's stay focused. Let's continue to look at our goals that we've written down and stay motivated by following these tips to never give up. We always think about we're just one thing away from having that success we all want. That is exactly what we need to think about and focus on. Thanks for your time. I'll see you next time. Oh, I need to tell you, click on the link below, and if you are ready to get started and work towards these goals that we talked about today, then just click on that link and let's get started on living that dream lifestyle that all of us want and really deserve.